everyone to think of a picture in your house. Maybe it's a picture of your kid with food smeared all over their face on their 3rd birthday, or a picture of you and your significant other on your wedding day. Or maybe it's a simple landscape that inspires you to travel the world. Imagine a picture. Now, imagine if that picture never existed. If that memory was never on solid paper for you to share and revisit whenever you wanted. Almost everyone owns a camera nowadays. Everyone takes pictures. Everyone wants to preserve memories in their life. With the invention of the camera, we are all allowed to be an artist in our own right. The way we look at photography and the things we choose to take pictures of has changed and will continue to change as our culture and technology advances. Understanding where the camera came from and how photography has changed over time is beneficial to us as a society because it helps us improve our knowledge in taking pictures that generations after us can appreciate. After all, don't all of us want to be remembered in our own way? I was recently given a Nikon camera for a present. Being a former disposable camera kind of photographer, this new camera looked unbelievably complicated. Therefore, I enrolled in a photography class to better my understanding of my camera as well as photography as an art. Through my own research and experience, I would like the opportunity to hopefully give everyone a taste of inspiration for their own photos. In this speech, I will help you to understand the history of cameras, point out a couple of famous photographers, while showing how photography has changed through the centuries. To begin, we have to explain the fundamentals of photography, what a picture is. A photo is described by Mary Bellis on History of Photography and the Camera as a method of recording images by the action of light on a sensitive material. Now that we know what causes a photo to occur, we can focus on the beginning of photography and how it has evolved into what we now call photography. The camera is a main factor in photography for obvious reasons. Mary Bellis also explains that the first camera, the camera obscura, was invented by a man named Alhazen in 1000 AD. On the website Discovering Lewis and Clark, Joseph Musselman explains that the camera obscura was a pinhole camera that produced upside-down images on the opposite wall of a darkened room. The artist of the time would then trace the projected images. This medieval camera was improved in 1676 when a mirror was added on to reinvert the images onto a glass plate. This, explained Musselman, would allow people to copy the image on translucent surfaces. Various advancements were added to the invention until one summer day in 1827 when the next big thing would occur in the photography world. The website Digital History introduces a young Frenchman, Joseph Niepce, as the first photographer. He recorded his scene outside his window on a pewter plate, but it shortly faded away. Niepce teamed up with another photographer, Louis Daguerre, and collaborated to improve the photo process. Niepce would never see the daguerreotype method that Daguerre presented in 1839 after Niepce's death. Digital History explains the process on their website. Daguerre would use the camera obscura to create an image with a silver-plated copper coated with silver iodine, which developed with mercury. The images appear to float above the polished surface. This method was shortly replaced by a method known as the wet plate process, discovered by Frederick S. Archer. Since we now know about the camera, we can now focus on inventors that changed the way we look at pictures. Philip Greenspun compiles a timeline of events in photography from its beginning to present day. In 1854, Adolphe Daguerre patented the Carte de Vista, which in the Britannica Encyclopedia explains as a small album print used as calling cards. This would lead to a high demand for portrait studios in the following decades. The next big event would occur in 1861 by James Clerk Maxwell. Maxwell was actually a physicist who found a way to implement color in images. This was accomplished by putting black and white images through red, green, and blue filters. But nothing would change photography like George Eastman. Eastman introduced film, made on paper, wound in a roll. Soon after, he released the Kodak camera that allowed a new wave of amateur photographers to produce and take photos. With advancements of film and photographs quickly moving, everyday people were better equipped to influence and change history through photography. The art of creating images has come from a quick science project to a major way of communicating daily. One of the most influential photographers of the 19th century is Mathew Brady. Brady's rise to success was his graphic images of during the Civil War. He often captured rotted corpses and ravaged cities. Even though the photos were staged, so says the Digital History website, they still evoked strong emotions in citizens of the day. Brady changed the face of journalism by adding faces and images to current events instead of just writing about it. After the Kodak camera came out in the later part of the 19th century, professional photographers began to try and transform photography into a work of art. This took a while, but finally in 1976, color photos were given a chance to shine in the Museum of Modern Arts. William Eggleston was given the opportunity to have his first solo show. This was the first time color photos were recognized as art. Now photography was elevated to an official form of art that could be respected in the art world. Now that photography was recognized as a form of art, artists like Sally Mann and many others could push boundaries just like Picasso, Monet, and other artists. Sally Mann is a modern photographer that portrays her children in nude pictures in an artistic way. If photographers like Eggleston had not rallied and supported photography like they did, Sally Mann would never have the opportunity to publish her beautiful, versatile works that are shown in many art galleries. Now that everyone is familiar with the history of cameras and the people that changed photography, I hope you are more prepared to go out into the world and make memories of your own that will last a lifetime and then some. The history of cameras helps us understand the early photographers, which in turn allows us to change and communicate through photography. I hope all of this information helps you find the inner artist in each one of you and motivates you to change photography in your own way.